It's a new year, and the real estate market in Greater Vancouver and the Fraser Valley is just as eventful as ever. The Fraser Valley Real Estate Board has just released their most recent stats package, and we're going to go in depth into the stats in today's video for all of you numbers nerds out there, so I can give you my opinion on what's going on across the marketplace. And because the new stats are out, that makes this the Surrey Report. And as usual, here is my amazing team with the most recent statistics from the City of Surrey.
Starting with our detached market, there was 165 sales in the month of December. That is up from the 124 sales in the same period last year. Our benchmark price is $1,605,800. That is up 0.2% month over month and up 0.7% year over year.
We had 138 townhouse sales in December of 2024. It was a 19% increase over 2023, where we only had 116 in December. The benchmark price is $853,800, and that is down 1.3% month over month and an increase of 0.3% year over year.
And in condos, benchmark price is around $524,000. Now that's a 0.3% decrease month over month and a 0.6% decrease year over year.
Okay, thank you, team. There you go. Those are the numbers for the actual City of Surrey itself in those three asset classes that are most common. But now let's dive in a little deeper so you can see what's gone on over the last little bit and where that may lead us in the future. But first, really quick, if you do need help in the Surrey and Fraser Valley marketplace, you can book a call with me right now using the link in the description below. Please subscribe to the channel and click the like button because that just really helps me get this information out to other folks just like you. And if you're looking for information about purchasing a home, you can download my Informed Buyer's Guide right now in the link down below. So let's hop into the numbers and see exactly where we are at the moment. This is all publicly available on the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board's website, and I recommend you take a deep look into your specific area because this is really, really good information. Starting off with the grand totals on a year-over-year basis, in other words, where were we last December versus where are we this December? In the overall marketplace, I know I got a lot of crap on it for the channel this year of saying that prices will be higher. And on a year-over-year basis, technically that is true. Average price across the entire Fraser Valley board area is up 9.2%. But I want you to stick through this video because that is a very kind of cheeky number. Now, last December, you had an average sale price of about $950, and it's almost $1,050,000 now. So it almost went up $100,000, but that only kind of stamps one point in time. Doesn't talk about necessarily all of what's going on. And although a lot of the people that like to say average price is important, I don't view average price as important of a stat because it fluctuates quite a bit over time. So I don't want you to focus on that. That's just an overall snapshot of the last 12 months. As far as the overall year went, 23 and 24 were very much similar. Sales were down only 1% from the previous year, which is a pretty good year, but new listings were up 20%. So what that's done is that has shifted us from a very good, or what people traditionally call good sellers market, into a buyer's market. If sales remain the same and a ton of new listings come to the market, that's going to affect supply and demand. And we are seeing that happen in pricing, and I'll get to that soon. Hopping into the overall year to date in the detached market. So this is the entire Fraser Valley from North Delta all the way out to Mission, including Surrey, Langley, White Rock, and Abbotsford. The average price is up 12% in detached, but this is why I don't want you to focus on that. I think right now we're seeing a swing towards more expensive properties because interest rates have come down, and there are some ability for some folks that have, let's say, deeper pockets to afford more now, or at least at a lower payment. So I think they're taking advantage of that. That's actually driving average price up. Now, if average price stays elevated for many months in a row, benchmark price will creep up. But benchmark price is a much more accurate pricing system of if the same home is selling for the exact same thing a month or a year later. Not that the overall average in the marketplace, because the average in the market can be skewed by our cheaper homes being bought or our more expensive homes being bought. The benchmark price tracks the average home for the area. So we saw a very modest increase year over year. So I would say really prices, if you think about it, have been very, very flat for the last year. They have fluctuated a little bit, maybe as much as 5% up or down. But in the overall scheme of things, likely that your home is 12% higher in value compared to the same time last year is very slim. It's actually probably almost worth exactly what it was a year ago. The same kind of rings true here for townhouses. Now, townhouses don't have a mass fluctuation in how expensive they get, so your average price has not moved very much, but neither has your benchmark price because, well, let's face it, a lot of those townhomes are kind of cookie cutter, and they don't actually vary that much across the board. You did see an increase in overall sales, but this is, again, just December. So we had a much busier December. This is actually a very busy December and November this year compared to the previous one. So, I wouldn't read too much into this. I'd say the market stayed fairly flat there. And the story's very much the same across apartments. Yes, there was more activity, but again, this is only December over December compared to the same time last year. Prices stayed extremely flat. A couple of outliers that I want to mention here. One, Langley Detached, and this will include a lot of like acreages and that sort of thing. Look at this. Prices increased in Langley year over year, 24%. That is absolutely insane. But again, let's rely on the more realistic price point or price measure, which is benchmark pricing, and they're up barely anything at all. So what this tells me is, again, some high-priced properties sold. Maybe there was some land that was assembled. There's density going in. Maybe large acreages or large farms were acquired. I'm not necessarily sure if that farm would have been in commercial or residential. But I mean farm, like maybe hobby farm, large tracts of land. So that number is skewed. There's no way Langley is up 24.4%, and they're likely very flat as well. But the winner for the year appears to be Cloverdale condos. Cloverdale, I live there. I think it's a fantastic place to live. The benchmark price is the largest rise year over year. So if you bought, say, a two-bedroom condo in Cloverdale last year, you're likely up 6 or 7%, which is, 6.6% is the average 40-year growth rate in the Fraser Valley board. So it's right on track. But it was strange to me to see such a rise in Cloverdale in prices. And again, the average price is way up, and that could be because, bigger units are selling, that sort of thing, because this does include bachelors, 1 beds, 2 beds, 3 beds. But at the same time, it really appears that Cloverdale apartments did very, very well this year. But look at how small of this sample set is. It's only 11 homes selling in the month compared to 13. So it's not necessarily a big deal. I love this last report of the year that the Fraser Valley puts out because they do compare 2024 to 2023, 21, and 19. So they kind of go, what happened last year, what happened 3 years ago, what happened 5 years ago. And let's take a look. So this last year we had about 14,500 sales, right on pace with 23. And look at 2019. We're not that far off. We're within 1,000 sales of 2019. Now, personally, I had a really rough year in 2019. It was not a good year in real estate for me. Thankfully, this year we didn't have that problem. So, hey, my market share is going up, and I'm happy about that. But we're not that far off. What is crazy is what happened in 2021. 27, almost 28,000 sales across the Fraser Valley board area. So we're down 50%, but that 50% was up at astronomical levels in the first place. So bit of an outlier year. We're a little below average, kind of right at average for the board area now in the number of sales, and the numbers are proving that. New listings, 35,000. So new listings were high this last year. I do think new listings are going to flood on again. I think we're going to see a little bit of excess in listings this year as well. The numbers are proving that. But look at 2021. So this is why the market went crazy. 2021, there were still, 7,000 or so listings that did not sell, right? In that year, maybe 8,000, if I can do math. I probably can't. So you had the same amount of listings within like 100 come on this year as you did in 2021, but with those record low interest rates and all that speculation, you just had so many more sales. So maybe not as crazy in the listing department as we think it is. It's just this number here, this 2021 outlier for number of sales, just absolutely craziness. And just because it's here, let's talk about it. Look at this. In 2019, there were 3,700 real estate agents in the Fraser Valley board. This is not including Vancouver, by the way. This is just the Fraser Valley board area. Now there are 5,200 plus. So we've seen a massive increase of almost 50% of the industry joined to the market within the last 5 years. So keep that in mind when you're hiring. We all have to start somewhere in this business. I had to at one point, but keep it in mind when you're hiring. Something like, well, according to this, 41% of the realtors in the marketplace right now have been licensed for less than 5 years. So you got to make sure you're hiring correctly and you're hiring somebody with experience. And if you're hiring somebody new because you want to hire them, and that's okay, they're hungry, that's good. Just make sure you do your proper pre-qualification because there's a good chance they're not doing a ton of business yet. I know I sure didn't in my first year and a half, 2 years. I always check out this chart. This is overall inventory in the marketplace. So kind of that light blue in the background is the amount of active listings on the market. New listings coming to the market is that kind of white. And then the dark blue is actual sales. So we are starting to see that kind of, again, 2019 effect of kind of increasing. This 2020 and 2021 effect was a result of really low money. So I think we're going to get closer to this area here, which would be really nice to kind of have as much inventory as we did in 2012, 2013. It means prices are probably going to stay fairly flat. They are continuing to decline right now, but just ever so slightly. So I think the market in overall is getting to a really healthy place where we're not going to expect any massive growth over the next little bit. Consumption rate, or this is months of inventory, where we say we are a balanced market. Personally, I think this is a buyer's market. I know they say it's, kind of that 13 or 14% up to about 20%. I think a balanced market is really kind of 20 to 25, kind of 18 to 22% consumption is where it really feels like it is. That being said, if it is in a balanced market, it is on the lower side of that. So that's why we're seeing a balance to a slow decline. And we're not seeing any massive declines like we saw previously. And then the number one focus, and this just shows you exactly where the market is. I'll take you way back, 2005. I actually got licensed in 2008 when the market fell off. This was the end of the financial world, this little dip, by the way. Everything stayed, it went up, but fairly flat for many, many years until 2015. This was the big foreign buyer hubbub that was or was not going on, depending on who you talk to. 2018, interest rates are going up, so prices came down. Then we know what happened with the pandemic. Then we know what happened with interest rates going in the other direction. Since then, I know this is a big swing. I know this is like between 1.55 and 1.45, so it's $100,000 swing. But in the overall scheme of detached, which is this red line here, we're seeing a real flattening out. But we are seeing this kind of decline at the moment, and I think that will continue. That exact same thing is happening at a lower price point in townhouses. Look at this slow, steady decline, and condos are doing the same thing. So don't believe average price. I really don't think it's a very good measure. And understand that if you're selling your property now, you're probably going to sell for less this spring rather than more. And if you're a buyer, you may want to keep your eye on some things over the next few months because, interest rates are a little lower. It looks like they're bottoming, at least on the fixed rate side of things. So it's looking like a pretty good entry point compared to the volatility, maybe not the exact price point, but compared to the volatility that we've seen of ups and downs over the previous years. 2025 is looking pretty nice and flat and boring. And that's actually probably one of the better times to get into the market. And of course, if you are looking to get into the market or out from under a home that you just can't handle anymore, you can book a call with me right now using the link in the description at a time that works best for you. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in a couple of days.